So you probably clicked on this video because you're looking for scripts to help you sell more homes. So what I've done is that I've put together all of my absolute best scripts that have allowed me to sell over 100 homes per year over the last few years. And all you have to do is click on the link in the description down below. Let's dive into the video. So I want to start off with a script that I started off with years ago at the beginning of my career. An expired script that I've used over, yes, I'm going to say this correctly, over 500,000 times of my career, I've used this script. And I want to give you this script because this is an easy, simple script that you can use no matter where you are in your business. Let's dive right in. So again, first and foremost, when you're talking about expireds, you need to realize that the only reason why they typically expire is because of what? Yeah, it's because they're typically overpriced. Exactly. So you need to have that in your mind when you're calling that individual. So 9 times out of 10, they're probably overpriced. The other, call it 10% of the time, it's something out of the ordinary. There's something wrong with the home. The homeowner's been a little bit of a troublesome client. Could be a couple things. So again, 90% of the time, it's overpriced. So when you have that in your mind, when you go into the script, you at least know where you're headed in the script. So let's dive into it. So you're going to go off, hey blank, this is Henry with EXP Realty. How are you today? When you're diving into your script, you want to be high energy and smiling. They're going to feel that. Again, you can either go, hey John, question them with high energy. Hey John, and you're going to go into it and say, hey John, the reason for my call today is that I saw your property at 123 Main Street just came off the market, and I was just curious if you were still looking to sell it. So the reason why I say, are you still looking to sell it? It's not an open-ended question. It's a yes or no. I want to get straight to the point because if John says to me, no, I'm not looking to sell it, or yes, I am looking to sell it, I know exactly where to go, and they really only gives me 2 options. So let's dive into the no first. If they say no, first off, celebrate a little bit because, again, you're going for no if you're just starting off in your career. If they go for yes, we're going to talk about that in a second, but if they do say no, celebrate first, not a big deal. You can also go for broke. I like to go for broke, which means that you're going to go into that level of uncomfortability. You're going to keep going into the script. So if they say no, a lot of people will just hang up. What you should be doing is to say, John, I can understand that you don't want to sell anymore. Can I ask you what changed? Or John, I'm curious, what changed over the last week since you had it on the market last? And then you can dive into the rest of the script. The other option is obviously if they say yes. They say, yeah, of course I'm looking to still sell my home. Okay, so can I ask you what happened when you had it on the market? Why do you think the house expired? John, the house expired after only 30 days on the market. What happened, right? Be ultra curious. So again, when you say that, you want to be like, John, what happened? Sound super curious. And again, you want to keep your high energy the entire time because people are attracted to energy more than the words. So again, they'll tell you, well, what happened? Well, I got offers I didn't like. Well, I didn't get any offers. Well, my agent sucked, whatever it is. Again, you're going to get some feedback. Regardless of what they say, whether they got a bunch of offers they didn't like, their agent sucked, whatever, okay? You're going to say, man, I can only imagine having to go through that again. But let me ask you this, John. When you do sell your home, where are you looking to move to next? Go back to motivation. Go back to motivation. Let me keep repeating. Go back to motivation when it comes to expireds because that's the driving factor. So again, when they say, when you ask them, John, where are you looking to move to next? So you say, oh, I'm looking to move to Florida. Florida? That sounds amazing. What's taking you to Florida? Retirement, job change, so on and so forth, right? Whatever it is, you want to get excited about it because again, them moving is supposed to be exciting. And again, you want to bring the energy. You want to bring the energy as much as you possibly can. Again, wherever you can find a connection point, you want to bring it there, high energy. You'll say well, I'm looking to move to Miami. Miami, that sounds amazing. How soon were you looking to be in Miami? Now I'm taking motivation and I'm tying it to a time frame. So now they're going to say, well, honestly, I wish I was there 6 months ago or, as soon as possible. Typically in this scenario, our next step would be to simply set an appointment. What works better for you, afternoons or evenings? You don't have to dive into 10,000 different things on the phone. The sole purpose of a cold call is to set an appointment. So again, when you go through it, you're going to get, again, motivation, time frame, lock appointment. Motivation, time frame, lock appointment. Or really just whatever objections they have, handle the objection, lock appointment. And if they say yes, now you're going to go into their motivation. Like why, where are we looking to move to when you do sell it? Why are you looking to move there? And then you're going to tie into the time frame. In a perfect world, when were we looking to be there? Looking to be there by. You're going to tie to the motivation, time frame, close for an appointment. Simple as that. Now, again, a lot of you are probably wondering for an expired script. Last note on this is that let's just say they go well, look, we're probably going to hold off until X, Y, or Z. Really quick, There's a difference between a condition when someone says, well, look, we didn't really get what we wanted, and now we're going to wait until I retire. Well, a condition can be, we're going to wait because someone's sick. We're going to wait until the kids are out of high school. Well, we're going to wait. The best way you can question this is say like, well, just curious, John, if you were able to get what you were looking for before, if not more, would you still consider selling your home? This will be a simple way of filtering through all of those quote unquote conditions, or if it's just an objection. Because again, a condition is something you're not really going to overcome. Well, we're not moving because my wife is sick or I'm sick or whatever it is. We're not moving in a couple months, surgery's coming up, whatever. Or the winter time, it's in Jersey, no one likes moving during the winter. Could be a possible condition, but it's a great way to just say like, well, look, if you still got exactly what you're looking for, just like you listed last time, or even possibly more, would you still consider selling your home today? If they go into yes, great, you can move forward into closing for the appointment. If they say no, well, no, we're actually probably just going to hold off until blank. Okay, great. That's a condition. You're not going to overcome that. If it's any other objection, you can get through it. Just close for the appointment. My next most favorite, best script I've ever used, I've used it 10,000 times, hundreds of thousands of times, is my follow-up script. So when it comes to follow-up, just know this, and Grant Cardone has said this a million times, the fortune's in the follow-up. Because what a lot of realtors do is that they make the call, and that's great. Congratulations, you made the initial call. Then you got a lead. Even more congratulations. Kudos to you. But then what ends up happening so frequently is that you don't follow up at all, or you only follow up once. And what ends up happening is that you lose the lead because somebody else is willing to call them a couple of times, or hypothetically, you called them a couple times, another agent called them a couple times, and then that third agent who called them maybe one or two times only, or that first phone call, they were just ready to go finally, because most business is done between the 5th and the 12th contact. So again, if you're not going to follow up, you're going to lose a majority of the business. Did you know that only 2% of all business is actually done, all sales are closed, 2% of them, okay? 2% of all sales that are closed is on the first contact. 90+% is on the 5th to 12th contact. So you need to continuously follow up. So let's dive into my follow-up script. So with my follow-up script, it's incredibly simple. And I want you to know what we talk about over the phone, you can simply do via text. So I want you to also, really quick, before you just start sending out a bunch of follow-up texts, call first, then send out the text message. Call first, then you're allowed to send the text. You're going to get a way better response, and you're going to have a way better conversion rate calling somebody, being on the phone, than you are via text message. Quick side note, listen, if somebody is not answering the phone half a dozen times, 3 times, 4 times, they're not answering the phone, and you send them a text and they always respond via text, you should probably communicate via text, and then just try to set the appointment so you're face-to-face, because you're not going to close the deal via text, but what you can do is you can set the appointment. So just match and kind of connect with them where their communication is. So again, if they're a really good texter and they suck at responding to you on the phone, then only text. If they're great via email, like again, I have a lot of elderly clients who they only prefer to speak via email. Guess what? They respond via email. They don't answer text messages or phone calls for some reason. Guess what? I get to meet them where they're at. So when it comes to the follow-up script, it's going to be simple. It's super simple. Here we go. Hey, John. It's Henry again with EXP Realty. I just wanted to reach out and follow up like I promised I would. Last time we spoke, you said you were looking to sell the home by blank, fill in the blank, by May, by June, by Christmas, by Hanukkah, right? Whenever it is. And I was just curious if that was still the game plan. That's it. Hey, John. It's Henry again with EXP Realty. How are you today? Doing great, Henry. How are you? Doing great. I just wanted to reach out to you, John. When we last spoke a few weeks ago, a month ago, whenever, you said you were looking to sell the home by blank, and I was just curious if you were still looking to do that, or if that was still part of the plan, or if that was still the goal. That's it. And guess what? Shut up and listen. Because when you shut up and listen now, you're going to give them the ability to then speak it into existence, which is a lot of the time they'll just go, yeah, that is still part of the game plan. Fantastic. Well, the next step is to simply set an appointment. What works better for you, John, afternoons or evenings? And you can simply close for an appointment. If they say, well, things are a little bit backed up, I'm kind of busy, this, and this, let's try to connect sometime next week. Well, John, curious, why don't we just set an appointment for me to stop by next week because my calendar's booking up quickly? What works better for you, next Tuesday or next Thursday? Well, probably next Thursday. Great. I can do 2 or 4 p.m. And then you're just going to lock in the appointment. Don't try to then have to call them back and then possibly set another appointment. Now again, listen, if it's like 5 weeks out, 2 months out, 5 months out, you're not going to set an appointment. But anything within the next 2-ish weeks, set the appointment. I've set appointments with 3 weeks in advance. They're like, hey, I'm going to be on vacation until the 10th, so why don't we try to connect on the 11th, 12th, or 13th? I'm like, okay, well, you know you're going to be back on the, on this date. Why don't we just set an appointment for the 11th, 12th, or 13th? What works better for you? And we'll just close for an appointment. I don't care if that's a month in advance, right? But you're going to put something on the calendar, and then you can touch base with them later on to confirm that appointment. Because when you set the appointment, you're just going to shoot them a text to confirm. You can put an email. They're going to get an email link as well, and they can add it to their calendar. They're going to get a lot of reminders along the way. So all you need to do is just simply set the appointment. So again, follow-up is very simple. Hey, John, Tanner again with EXP Realty. How are you today? Doing awesome. How are you? Doing great. Thank you so much. Wanted to reach out like I promised I would. I want to reiterate why I say that, because what you're reiterating is that you're a person of your word, man of your word, woman of your word. You're a person of your word. So that brings out the integrity in the trust that they can have in you. So like I promised I would. John, when we spoke a few weeks ago, you said you were looking to sell the home by the end of the month. I just wanted to follow up like I promised I would. Was selling the home still part of the game plan for April? Very simple. And then again, shut up and listen. Something else I want to reiterate is if it's anything within, again, the next few weeks, close for the appointment. Anything over the next few weeks, yes, you can set up a time to follow up with them. They say, well, I'm not really sure yet. Me and my wife are kind of going back and forth. What I'd like to try to do, because this is an objection, they kind of want to hesitate, they're waiting. See, John, I can totally appreciate that. Why don't we do this? Why don't we set an appointment? I'll stop by and we'll see if that even makes sense for you to sell right now. Because now it sounds like, you don't know if it's the right time. You don't know what kind of price you might get for the home. I'm just curious, would getting clarity around time frame, price, and your reasons for selling help you in any sort of fashion? Yes, it would. Okay, great. Why don't we set an appointment for next week? You, me, and your wife can sit down. We can discuss everything in person, and we can take it one step at a time. How does that sound? Sounds great. Great. Well, can you do Tuesday or Thursday at 4 o'clock? Close it down. Like, whatever objection, and again, we post a ton of these type of objection videos. You can check a bunch of them out up here, down there, wherever we're going to find them. But point is that constantly practice these objection handlers because you're probably going to get a lot of them. And again, they're just simple questions. Don't get hung up too much. And if you are getting hung up on something, it's because you're typically not practicing it at all, if not. Okay, also, when it comes to follow-up, you can say the exact same thing in a text message. So I'm gonna do two examples. Let's just say that they answered and they say it's not a good time, call me back later. No problem. Okay, and you weren't able to go through the script. What you can simply do is that in the text message, you can say, hey, John, Tanner again with EXP Realty. Sorry I missed you today, or sorry I caught you at a bad time today. I wanted to reach out like I promised I would. When we spoke a couple weeks ago, you said you were still looking to sell your home sometime in April. Just wanted to see if that was still part of the game plan. That's it. You can say the same thing in a text message. Super simple. Now again, if they didn't answer and went straight to voicemail, you can leave them a voicemail and just say, hey, John and Tanner again with EXP Realty. Just wanted to reach out to you like I promised I would. Give me a call back when you get a chance. I got some fantastic news for you. Leave your phone number, right? Super simple. Don't overcomplicate that. And again, for the text message, if they did not answer the phone after you just left that voicemail, you can go, hey, John, it's Tanner again with EXP Realty. Wanted to reach out like I promised I would. Hope you're doing wonderful. Hope you and the family are doing great. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Hope you had a great July 4th. Hope you had a happy holidays. Something to be kind and genuine. And then you're going to dive into exactly the same script. You say, hey, when we last spoke, you said you were still looking to sell your home in blank. Just curious if that was still part of the game plan. Keep it super simple. All right, the next one is going to be circle prospecting. Nowadays, I do a lot of the circle prospecting because I'm cold calling, major commercial real estate properties. And this script works powerfully, and I do a lot of business this way. I've also done a lot of business in my career when it comes to circle prospecting, and a lot of my agents on my team and in my coaching program are doing a lot of this circle prospecting because obviously in this market with how crazy it is, you need to figure out some ways to find off-market deals. So circle prospecting can really help you out. Let's dive into the script. First and foremost, bring the energy, smile, get ready to go. Take a moment, heed my warning, take a moment and ground yourself before you get on the phone call. Stand up, play good music, pump up music, get excited, be ready to go. Like, again, you need to have high energy going in these calls. When you're making these calls, people can feel whatever emotion you're bringing to the phone call. So if you feel scared or insecure about your abilities on the phone, they're going to feel that. So pump yourself up, get good music, high energy, smile. It's go time. So on the phone, it's going to be super simple. You're going to get straight into the call. So hey, John, because again, when you're typically making these calls, you're going to see the name. You can be like, hey, John, hey, Sally, whatever their name is. And they're going to say yes. He's like, hey John, this is Henry again with EXP Realty. How are you? I'm doing fantastic, thanks so much. The reason for the phone call, very important. The reason for the phone call. Get straight to the point. Don't beat it around the bush. So the reason for the phone call is I have a few clients who are looking for a home in your neighborhood, and I was just curious if you might consider hearing an offer. Very simple, straight to the point. High energy. Question is yes or no. And if they say no, you can dive into this part of it. Again, you kind of want to go for broke. Again, they already said no. You know, who cares what they say at this point? So you're going to go farther into it. You can say, John, I can appreciate that. Just curious, is there a number where you'd be like completely blown away where you would actually possibly consider selling it? No, I just want to stay here. No thanks. Goodbye. Right? Cool. Goodbye. Go on to the next person. But again, what happens a lot of times is like, well, someone will possibly say, well, if I get 800 for it, I guess. Or, well, if I get 2 million for it. And like, obviously, I've had people say, well, if I get $1 million for a $200,000 house, I'd consider selling it. Okay, great. But at least you get them to say a number. So again, if they say no, get them to say a number. Well, is there I can totally appreciate you don't want to move today. Well, I'm just curious, is there a number that would completely knock your socks off that would maybe can help you consider selling the property? That would maybe change your mind? So again, you can kind of shift into that. If they do say yes, here's the rest of it. So again, if when you go into say if you consider selling it, would you consider hearing an offer? What you're going to go into is this. So it's like, look, typically the next step here, considering you are looking to sell your home, is for me to stop by the property to see, number one, if it's a good fit for my clients, and to come to some type of an agreement on a valuation of your home. What would work better for you, John, in an afternoon or evening? Just go right into the close. You don't have to overcomplicate this. If they start kind of giving you some pushback, I'm like, John, listen, I do have a client who's possibly interested in your property. And by the way, even if you don't, it's okay to say that, because here's the thing. Let's be honest. If you listed this house today, okay, at almost any price, you're probably going to get some traffic in this ridiculous market that we're in. So the point is that you can easily find a buyer if you ended up getting the listing, right? And also, I want you to know, a lot of very successful agents will take, a family friend, someone that they know to the property and pretend it's a buyer. Like, listen, it's not lying to them, because also, by the way, I've done this 100 times. I've had an investor come with me. They're an investor. They're looking in almost any neighborhood for a great price. Doesn't mean they're going to pay what they're looking to pay. Take the logistics out of your head for a second. It doesn't have to look a certain way. So again, all you're going to do is see if they're considering selling it, and then you can dive a little bit into their motivation. You can tie into a quick time frame and then close it out. You don't need to hesitate so much. So, and again, listen, it could be a free-flowing conversation. And by the way, if you're saying, well, it's easy for you to say, Henry, because, in your scenario, everyone's saying yes. If they say no, go to the next person. It's okay. You know how many people typically, you might have to call? A lot. It's okay. But guess what? The ratio is this. For every 100 homes that are in a neighborhood, 3 to 6% of every neighborhood on average are possibly considering to sell and do sell every single year. 3 to 6% of every 100 homes in every neighborhood will consider selling this year. You have to speak to 100 people in the same neighborhood to get a 3 to 6% return on that investment of your time. Is that making sense? So again, all the scripts that you've heard today have helped shape my career to what it is today. And I have a bunch more incredible scripts, including what to say to your sphere of influence, networking events, for sale by owners, you name it, in my script book. If you haven't already taken advantage of it, it's free. All you got to do is download, click the link down below and download it. Everything is there for you. I want to give you everything I've got, no strings attached. By the way, quick side note, if you do have any objections that you are stumped on, make sure to put it in the comment section down below so I can create a video to help support you in your business. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you soon.